Well, now I'm joined by Mantalena Kaili from Love 146, which is an NGO which combats child trafficking, and by Jake Bowers, a writer of Romani heritage. Mantalena, how do you read what's going on at the moment? Because there's an enormous amount of prejudice in the air, for one thing, but a second Romani family now under investigation, this time in Ireland.
We have to be really cautious with our judgments and our how we end up with conclusions, because it is a sensitive issue, and it could be just a coincidence for this family to belong to the Roma community. We have to see it as a case, but we also have to see it as a challenge, how we can do more efforts to integrate the community of the Roma people and engage their children with education. And
your organisation seems to argue that the Romani community does have a pattern of some of this activity.
We have some figures that show that parts of Greece, where Roma community groups are based, are also the places where the trafficking shows some presence, because children trafficking in Greece is not massive, but yet. However, this does not conclude that the trafficking of children is combined with the Roma community activity.
And does this coincide with acute poverty?
It's a multifold problem, yes, and the crisis and the financial problem and poverty and unemployment absolutely links to the rise of trafficking and exploitation. But also, Greece has the biggest coastline in Europe, and the border control is very, very difficult. So it is absolutely linked to the illegal immigration issue as well.
I mean, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people across the world who want this child to be theirs. You believe that she was trafficked from Bulgaria?
This is what the latest news show, but we still have to talk with scenarios. We have no results, and we should focus on this dark case, because it lights the hope of battling children trafficking.
Jake Bowers, you know the Romani community, or of it. What do you make of this?
Well, I'm relieved to hear Mantalena say that we shouldn't draw that conclusion that there is a connection between the Romani community and the trafficking of children, because this is a very old myth that Gypsies steal children. It's built into British nursery rhymes. What is probable here, and we've seen it in this country and every European country, is that this couple, I mean, you can see from their picture, what we're talking about here is an unauthorised adoption, and that's something which Romani people have done for centuries. The people living in poverty across Europe have given up their children for adoption to Romani people, because Romani people cherish children and look after children. The thing that's disturbed me about all of this is that...
you would argue, just as Mantalena talks about a pattern, that pattern is about informal adoption.
It is. I mean, I know...
And not abduction.
Absolutely not. Listen, I'm one of 17 in my family. We had enough children of our own. Why would we want to steal any more? It is a ridiculous suggestion that Romani people do that. But the thing is the way that it's been reported by the media is the opposite of natural justice. We are guilty until proven innocent.
Well, let me get your response to that, Mantalena.
It's an issue that we have to handle with care, and we have to keep in mind that as long as our country goes, there is the rise of the far-right movement. We have to be really cautious, because it's a dangerous issue to put the light on a minority group.
But do you accept the possibility that what the Greeks may have seen as abduction, the Romans may see as informal adoption?
Well, the specific case seemed to be caused by people that knew exactly what they did. And
Jake.
they had apparently the partnership of officials, which will be examined in the near future. We're still not sure, but in any case, that this cannot be generalized.
Of course, the one big issue that isn't being raised here is that this child, who looks quite happy in that picture with her family, is being traumatised on the basis of this racism that Gypsies steal children. Something has just happened in Dublin, which could be exactly the same. They are innocent until proven guilty. I've heard recently of a skinhead gang in Serbia going around taking blonde Gypsy children, Romani children, off their families.
Well, it's odd that they are blondes.
Well, partly it is. And I'm blonde. There are Romani people all over Europe who are blonde. And it's just symptomatic of the deep prejudice and ignorance that there is about the Romani community, that this can continue to happen. So we need to nail that myth that Romanis do not steal children.
The cultivation of any fear for the unknown is against any idea of liberation and progress and democracy. So we can fight these issues with more education, more raise the awareness, and with the training of the officials to know how to handle an issue like that.
I mean, it is complicated in Greece by the fact that it's pretty evident that there's a lot of corruption amongst officials who are prepared to sign dodgy paperwork, which seems to have happened in this case.
It could be out of careless management, but I cannot tell. Corruption is part of every system in every part of the world, and for every institution there is a parallel illegal institution that works.
But these things are also driven by poverty. The families that I could take you to in Britain, which have raised non-Romani children within Romani environments, it is because those children have been given up for adoption because the parents couldn't cope. In this country, in the Edwardian period, people gave their illegitimate children to Romani families because they wanted to hide away that problem. So instead of this being observed as some kind of threat to children and humanity, what we should be looking at is how Romani people for hundreds of years have actually helped deal with the problems of society.
Can you imagine approaching it that way?
I would like to underline that especially in Greece, apart from regardless the financial problems, we have people and officials and authorities and in institutions that do their work excellent. And we have the Ombudsman for the Child, we have the National Coordinator for Human Trafficking. So we have people that do their work. They may not be paid for that. They may not be able to have a proper hours of work, but they do it and they work by their conscience.
Well,
and this is something that makes us proud, and we're happy.
Mantalena Kaili and indeed Jake Bowers, thank you both very warmly for coming in.